Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reverend John Wheeler podcast. The Reverend John Wheeler is me, but also Meredith, my friend, is my co-host. And I reference my wife frequently. Meredith is not my wife. My wife is upstairs. However, I will take this time to say that next week's episode will be a Valentine's Day special. And Alexis will be joining us. And we will be reading from the Bible. Yes. The Mormon Bible in particular, about magic underwear. No, it's going to be about maybe dinosaurs. No, Mormons don't believe in dinosaurs. Wait, we're not Mormon. Maybe it is. It's hard to say. It doesn't really matter. But right now, it's not Valentine's Day. Right now, there is something large looming over the United States. Something floating above us. And it's this TV show or something called The Last of Us. Which apparently was, or is that what it's called?
Yes, it's called The Last of Us. It is a show based upon a video game that I've never heard of.
Yeah, I don't know what is it. Is it a modern video game? Is it like?
I think so. So I can't tell exactly what they're doing with.
Holy shit! I just figured something out. I'm sorry. Like I actually, really, truly just did. So, I don't know anything about this, right? And this might be kind of interesting, you explaining it to me and me desperately trying to understand what the point is, because I probably would be desperately trying to understand even if I did know what it was. But you'll be seeing it live on the air, and by live I mean on YouTube or wherever. But, no, okay. So it's a video game, right? And it was made by you had mentioned it was made by the people from Chernobyl. It's like kind of the show was, not the video game. Or the adaptation was or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my friend Michael Dahlquist, formerly known as Mike Diva, I think still perhaps on the internet, who now makes all of the weird, weirdly upgraded high-budget Saturday Night Live commercials. That's his job. And I still get to call him a friend because every once in a while when I put something really funny on Instagram, he likes it. And that's good enough. The singer of Foxy Shazam does it, he does it. That means I'm friends with lots of cool people. But the point is that he just made, and it has the guy from The Mandalorian in it with a mustache.
Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal.
And it's like this dark, gritty thing about it's Mario Kart, but it looks like Chernobyl. I was trying to...
I saw something about that. I wanted to watch it.
No, but yeah, I was trying to figure out... I did watch it, and all the reviews were of all the video games that turned into a movie, this one ain't it, son. Or whatever, it was Rolling Stone, or whatever, because it's this gritty Mario Kart. They made it, it looks awesome. It's just a ridiculous thing to do. And I'm like, well, what's the cultural relevance of this 2-minute clip that has a high, because it reminded me of the other one, the one of where the guy from Stranger Things, the sheriff guy, was Oscar the Grouch, and it was Joker. Mm-hmm. And he's this garbage man, he's all painted green, he's like, call me Grouch. And it was really funny. It was like that. And I'm like, okay, so why are they is there a new Mario Kart out? I think Mario Kart 8 was the last one, and that was forever ago. And I'm like, oh, they're making fun of The Last of Us. But see, when I saw the Mario Kart thing, I didn't know what the fuck The Last of Us even was, other than Ben Shapiro chimed in on it because there's something about something gay in it, so he has to get upset because he's a video game dork that's also a creepy straight man whose wife's vagina never gets wet or whatever. Whatever all the various stuff on the internet with him is. Actually, I'm somewhat familiar with him. My favorite thing about Ben Shapiro, other than that I like to make fun of him, he's like a smart guy conservative. He's a little nerdy man and dressed kind of like how I am right now. He's like, well, here's the thing about, but he talks really fast. He does the fast talk thing, so he sounds right. That's his main trick. He just out fast. He's like words, big words, triangles and math words. Yeah, we're talking about social stuff. Math and triangles have to do with social stuff. How do you even not know that? Well, that's the problem with trans people. He's just one of those guys. But somebody brilliantly, and it's one of my actually that would have been a fun thing to pull up, but we don't need to because you can imagine. When you slow it down, it's he's not saying anything of substance. There's big words kind of in there, and he's just doing the trick. He's doing the trick that people do, the fast talk, big word trick to be I'm so smart and I'm so right. So people think that just people, why are people on the left just so intellectual? So no, we're intellectual too. It's a misnomer by the media, blah, blah, blah. And someone took it and they slowed it down to half speed like that Alvin and the Chipmunks thing. Now, they didn't lower his voice or whatever, it's the same, it's just the lower it, in a lot of the programs I use, there's lower the speed but maintain the same pitch or whatever, there's an adjustment for that, and it's amazing, because when you listen to him, I can tell that he's full of shit, not everybody can, but when people slow down his tirades, and it's just someone going, here's the thing about this, and it sounds like a drunk frat guy towards 3 a.m. at a party trying to explain to you how like gay marriage is actually anti-progressive. It's just like, and the thing about it that you have to remember, and before we get to that other thing, but another thing is that it's not maybe you don't believe in God, but I mean, it's not God's fault that you don't believe in God. And it just sounds like a drunk idiot. Like, it's amazing. And it's like, it doesn't sound smart fast, but it's fast and has a lot of $5 words in it. So it's like, okay, I'm not really paying attention. He's making his points. He's dunking on these other people on the internet or whatever. But when you slow it down, it sounds like the dumbest conversation you've ever been trapped in at a party in your early 20s. You can't leave because you're too high.
Did you watch the video of the Alex Jones?
I did.
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't care about folk rock. Yeah.
It didn't
The problem is it's, to me, it's just the same Alex Jones stuff that I already laugh at. It's like, oh, what if he was singing over? Yeah. It's like, I don't care. Like, I've literally forever, but I've already seen those things, and I just don't care whether or not something's indie folk. It's just this like, well, what if it had an acoustic guitar? Like, the techno remix of the Turn the Frickin' Frogs Gay is like, that should be put on an iPad and hung in the Louvre on repeat. That's high art. Turn the freaking frogs gay. Frog, fuck it. It's amazing. I did a TikTok video where I was shirtless using a weird electric hula hoop with a weight on, like a skip it, but for your hips. A hip it. It's not called that.
Should be.
It should be. No, I love that it's good. Making fun of Alex Jones is really fun. But I was just like, this isn't enough for me. It needs to be like...
I like that it was subtitled.
Well, you could read it that way, yeah. But I think it was just sort of lost on me. It's like, what if this was an indie folk? It's like, okay, but like, maybe was over-focusing on this. I was like, does this sound like the actual lyrics to one of those songs that would come on The Current, and I would change the channel because I just can't sit through it. One of those things, like, because indie folk, it's my, like, I think it might actually be my least, it might beat country, because it just... Country kind of knows it's stupid. At least the people who are in charge.
Super close for me.
Indie folk, I mean, but it's just I think it's the gall. It's like everybody's like singing to a bunch of idiots about a pickup truck. Fine. You know what? Make your money. Have your fun. Do your thing. It's awful and unlistenable. It's not really music by any metric or whatever. But like, indie folk is the idea that the most punk rock, rattling the cage statement you could possibly make is a 300-pound man with a giant beard down to his nipples, wearing a flannel shirt with a rope for a belt, wearing fucking Jeffrey Dahmer shop teacher glasses, playing a ever so slightly out-of-tune piano from a kindergarten classroom, and singing in a whispering, lilting falsetto about what it was like when the farmer went and looked at the crop, and he nodded his head subtly, and it was good. And it's just like, man, that's gonna fucking shake shit up, It's a good thing The Current plays that all the time. That guy deserves to be selling out the Myth 3 nights in a row. Fucking Minnesota.
Please make that video.
Indie folk. Oh my god.
I really need to see this.
You have seen it.
I know,
There's
but I want to see your
Bell
version.
and Sebastian or fucking, what is the guy? Oh fuck, I'm never going to be able to remember because I used to kind of like on long drives and stuff like listen to The Current and then I was just like, well, I have a phone and Spotify, never mind.
Oh yeah,
But-
I'll never,
but, like,
I just don't listen to radio.
There was this one particular guy. This is like one of those like I recorded this in a cabin. I was like, and it's like everyone is just always like rabidly awaiting Bon Iver, that guy.
Oh.
That's almost who I'm describing. But what in my mind the person looks like an uncharismatic on stage version of like Andy, but just dressed like again Jeffrey Dahmer shop teacher glasses. And just wearing, like, like he's in, like, Mumford & Sons, or he's a lumberjack on a fucking pancake batter bottle. Whatever, just like, the farmer looked on his crop this year, and it was cold. But the farmer knew that later that the crop would be good.
Are we
And there's, like,
doing
these college
Tiny
students
Tim
that
now?
are like, don't drag Tiny Tim's name through the cotton field with this mook that I'm talking about. Like this theoretical yet very real mook, who I don't like. Oh my god, I hope we've been recording. Oh yeah, okay. So like, anyways, The Last of Us. What? Okay, so I think you said earlier you didn't know what exactly the video game was.
No, I don't really. I play Nintendo.
I do too, and but the thing, it sounds familiar, but I can't tell if it's one of those like, because like at this point,
you're thinking of like Left
4 Dead,
Below.
Left Below.
Remember The Simpsons? Yeah.
Oh, the fake biblical thing that's about the.
They made it. Oh my god! There's a
rapture.
really fucked up show. Like I'm watching it now, and it is. It's called. It's not Left Behind because that's the movie, but
Yeah, and Left Below is the Simpsons version.
the
which
Left
is funny.
Behind. It's the Left Behind version of the show. It's got like 3 seasons, and it is that, and it's made for HBO, so it's got sex and.
Wait, though,
Fox.
is it okay? Hang on, is it a real one of those that has like Kevin Sorbo and Captain Janeway and shit in it, or is it like a making fun of that exact concept? Like the thing you're describing.
There's no making fun. They're just literally. It's a show about people that just straight up disappeared, and now the others are just like dealing with like cults and their grief and like
Weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds kind of fun. It's not like one of those chick publication, Christian weird, or is it? Okay. So yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know if The Last of Us is, because here's the thing. At this point, north of 10 years ago, video games were still like modern 3D crazy video games. Like, yes, they've gotten like really fancy good or whatever, but it's not like 10 years ago was GoldenEye or everyone looked like they were made out of paper mache.
I'm sorry, like
it's in what I'm saying is that game could have come out right now or in like 2009, and I would be like, I can't quite tell if this is new or not. I guess this looks a little shittier. Like, is this real?
the thing I hate about modern video games is I don't want to be stopped and paused to hear a fucking story. I just don't care. I want to play a fucking game. Don't make me listen to like some and you can't skip it. You can't skip it. You have to sit there and you have to fucking watch. And I don't want to do that. I want to just play the game and like hack people's heads off with an axe. But I can't do that because I need to hear some bullshit story. And I blame Final Fantasy VII for this.
I do too.
I mean,
even though I don't like role-playing games.
Technically, Final Fantasy like 3 or 4 started doing those like it's like cutscenes. And
is it really their fault though? I mean, is that?
I don't know. I'm blaming them.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's where we're getting this show. Is they're trying to adapt this video game?
No, I do hate when video games are stories. The only thing I like about cutscenes are screwing them up. Because there's some games where there'd be a glitch where, like some kind of Grand Theft Auto thing where, like, the cutscene's in a barbershop, but it didn't get rid of the people that were chasing you, so they're just, like, shooting through the windows and shit while you're just having a call.
Grand Theft Auto, I will
when you're custom, they let you use your custom character, so you're just, like, Big Bird sitting in this mafia meeting or whatever because he just modded the game or something. Like, that's funny. But, yeah, no, I don't like the story either, because the story... I'm on your side here. Like, I actually don't like... Because it's just a way to sell video games that, as far as the actual play, are just, like, the same. Now, I do get... Oh, the mouse battery's very low. That sucks. I wonder how long... Okay, fuck it. Who cares? But, yeah, like, I kind of like a bit of a narrative, and I sort of, like, understand people's...
I just turned it off.
I know, but there's like it's like, of course it does that. I've been turning it off. I've been making it, an effort not to let it get too shitty. And it's like, oh, I have 2 different things I want to click on, and we have to end the thing. It's like, there's never going to be more mouse clicking.
Excuse me, folks. John is going to continue on a tirade, and I'm going to go get a thing to charge this.
All right, that'll be just fine. Thank you, Meredith.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I'm slightly of two minds because, like, I get that, like, video games are a good distraction or whatever, and it's, like, particularly sad teenagers that are trapped in basements, some more... I mean, I know I live in Minnesota, but I live in Minneapolis. It's not a bad place in the Midwest. I so easily could have been in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and that storyline in that dumb video game are, like, that's just going to be the only thing that kind of like keeps me going that I have something to identify with, whatever. Like I do understand it, but like I think that the Mike Dahlquist's Mario Kart joke on Saturday Night Live is sort of a prudent one, because it is like, okay, why are we making whatever this is? I guess I can't really have any kind of a, stance on it or whatever, because I don't know what The Last of Us is. And I hope a few people listening are just yelling at the screen or frantically leaving YouTube comments, in an attempt to like, oh, by the way, it's going to be comically, yeah, you just plug it into the big one there. It's going to be comically soon that I end up being like, okay, now I want the mouse because I want to show, but no, I can stall. Because, okay, listen, I do understand that if you clicked on this, and by the way, it's just too late. What has it already been, like 16 minutes? Yeah. That if you clicked on it because of the thumbnail, which is this episode is at least going to sort of have its hat hung on the weird Chinese balloon situation, which is like kind of worth mentioning. It's one of the weirdest news things that.
Are we done with The Last of Us?
Well, no, because now I don't know what it is. But see, now that you're back, I'm gonna shift directions back to like, it's like I ran out of steam, where I was like, I don't know who's in it. You said Nick Offerman is in it or something.
Offerman is in it.
Okay.
For an episode so far.
Have you watched it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what is it? What is it? So it's zombies.
So it's sort of zombies. It's basically a fungal infection. I wouldn't call it fungal infection, but God, I'm gonna get.
So it's a pussy disease.
It's not a fungal infection. Shut up. It's
a bowling shoe related
basically
thing.
Mushrooms that take over your mind.
Oh, are they doing the cordyceps thing again? Because wasn't that in the No, there was like a movie that like Jordan Peele did that was.
I didn't.
Was it Us? Or, no, it wasn't that one. It was one of his horror movies.
I've only seen 2 of them, and that's not one of them.
One of them was called... Oh, wait, maybe I'm thinking of this video game. I don't remember. Oh, wait, was it called The Last of Us? Because that actually sounds familiar. Okay, so that's not a game. Oh, is that where that's from? That whole thing where there's, like, memes where people are like, oh, Joe Rogan tells you to take lion's mane and cordyceps, and they're like, wait, cordyceps? Oh, that is what that is. Yeah, it's from that game. That
sounds familiar.
Well, because cordyceps are the mushrooms that we can eat them and they're good for us or whatever. They're one of those good longevity brain. But they infect ants, and they'll have like literally like a mushroom like thing growing out of the top, and it'll start controlling them. Okay, so that's from that video game, and now it's a movie. Why did I think Jordan Peele had made one that was about that though? Maybe not. I
don't have any idea, but
maybe because he had one called Us, and then there was another one called The Last of Us, and they're not connected at all. But
no.
But mushrooms taking over your brain is like. Yes. A good horror concept, so I was like, oh, Jordan Peele must have made a movie about that. But he didn't. But someone else did.
Because it's done by the folks who did Chernobyl, it's very, very, very accurate to, like, the times. So, like, it starts out in...
Is the time the future in which this happens, or what?
Just explaining it.
Okay.
So, like, 2003, they get the details of, like, what our $20 bills looked like then. So it's, like, because in Chernobyl, I don't know, they made all the cities look almost identical to what it would have looked like in the 80s. So...
Do you have any room? Hang on. I think we're nudging the camera, and it's shaking a lot. Okay, we're good. I think the table is touching the stand.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're never going to get through this.
I know. That's fine.
Everyone has just checked the fuck out by now.
I doubt that. Because they know we're getting somewhere good eventually here. You gotta have faith in this institution, Meredith. It's been built on a strong tradition of, I don't know, other episodes before.
Anyway, so far I think it's pretty good. But the hubbub was the fact that they had an entire episode that was like an hour and 20 minutes long of just like a gay couple. And that's in the actual video game, I guess.
What were they? Were they eating ass, or were they just living their life?
No, just living their life.
Well, then why watch it?
fine, and it
Yeah,
was
okay.
it was actually a very emotional and touching episode. I personally wasn't affected by it like a lot of people, cried, and it didn't make me want to cry because I didn't really get, it's one episode and you don't really get to know the characters for one episode. It's kind of like,
no, I didn't cry.
they did some pretty good building up, but for me it didn't make me upset.
Spoilers, Han Solo dies in The Force Awakens, and the first time I saw that movie in the theater, there was fucking weird dumpy nerdos in front of me just crying when old man Han Solo gets killed, and it's like,
but we knew that was gonna happen.
Also, I like Star Wars, but that's not really emotional. And also, I don't think I've ever said this on any of our podcasts. Let's talk about a movie that I do know about, which is Star Wars, for a second, and talk about how in The Force Awakens they really fucked up by giving away that Han Solo is Kylo Ren's dad right away, they mentioned it constantly, and there was such a good opportunity. You can tell that the original script had them not mention it. You could feel it. There was a time when he kind of sees him for a second, and he's just I thought that was our son, Kylo Ren, that I saw, but it's maybe it wasn't. But instead, it's you could tell that he was standing there with Leia at some point, when they reunite, they see him going up a gangway thing into a ship or something. It's I thought I saw our son. He's like, what? And it's I don't know. It was just a feeling. You'll be oh, we don't know. They never go, you must find your father, Han Solo, within the first 5 minutes of the movie. It was so perfectly set up for you to not quite know what happened. If they just removed some of that dialogue, you'd kind of have, clues. If you weren't totally stupid, the target market, you'd be oh. And then when he finally approaches them on the thing where they meet up and when he kills him or whatever, he's Ben! And you'd be shit, that is his kid. That would have been fun. After the first time you would know, but they were wore it so ham-fistedly. And that at least would have made it kind of exciting because you would have been reeling a little bit from oh, I just learned this, and then he kills him and you're whoa. But I still don't have this emotional connection to Han Solo. I don't really, it's I liked all the old Star Warses a lot, but I wouldn't be oh no, he's dead.
Well, in the
it's shouldn't he have been dead by now from double-crossing the wrong smugglers decades ago or some shit?
In the case of Episode 3 of The Last of Us, it is written to get a strong emotional response, but unfortunately, it didn't do that for me. I wish it did.
Because those Jedi mind tricks don't work on you.
I don't know, the performances of the actors were amazing. It was great. But I don't know. I don't want to see their entire lives in one episode. It would have been cool maybe if they would have edited it differently and tried to break it up. But then again, I don't know how the video game goes. And I don't know if they're trying to make it.
And also, who gives a fuck about how the video game goes?
Well, we're talking about how the filmmakers are doing it. If they're gonna pull it that way, or if they're gonna make it more so it's more of a show and not just.
I just can't imagine
it chronologically in the game. I don't know.
It's this isn't, and again, I guess that is that Mario Kart joke where it's just this isn't following the source material very accurately. In this scene here, it's Luigi, and he's clearly in Luigi's Mansion, which is a different game. They should just be driving through the haunted house.
I hate that shit because it's it's a fucking video game. It shouldn't have, you shouldn't have to care about that stuff. As long as it has, the main characters and the main story. So what if it's sort of different? It's there shouldn't be that much story in a fucking video game.
Yes, all of the fun video game stories are hodgepodges of other well-done stories anyway. It's if you want to make a Grand Theft Auto movie, don't. Go watch Scarface. Or go watch Pulp Fiction. Go just... Don't, you don't need to make a movie. All it is just other movies jammed together. If you're going to watch, we're going to make a Skyrim movie. It's really, Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones didn't quite tickle that funny bone for you, right? It's no. This is going to be the Skyrim movie. It's going to have arrows and dragons, and it's going to be serious, and there's going to be magic, and it's it's based off other things that are so much more interesting than it already, that already exists, that you don't have to fucking bother with it. Like, I understand, too, even being like, I want to make my own Orcs and Goblins movie, and it's like, well, I guess just slap World of Warcraft on it so people will maybe go see it instead of nobody, because if something's not an existing IP, no one gives a shit, hence all the video game movies or whatever. But the thing is like, everything fun, like, even the movie that you think you want to see, like, an actual Doom movie, would just be boring, because it's like, they kind of were smart and kept the story moving along, and, you know, like, Doom 2016 or whatever, which is kind of like a fun cinematic game. The cutscenes are quick and short and kind of insane, so you're like, okay, well, this is fine. But it's all ripoffs of, like, Total Recall and all of this, you know, future movies and fucking demonic stuff that we've already just had. It's like, we've already had, it's like, oh, they're gonna bring him back to life by putting him in a robot suit. And it's like, yeah, we have RoboCop already. Like, we've already seen this. And to the point where even, like, the death scenes in that game, like, it's cute, but, you know, you fall in some, like, hot lava, there's, like, a cutscene of the guy, like, in his kind of mechanical suit, like, he gives, like, the thumbs up, like in Terminator 2 as he goes. It's like, they did that all on purpose, because it just reminds you of things that you like, but if you were to make a movie about it, you'd be like, well, yeah, the good thing about this game is it was, like, kind of a good homage to all these other movies, but it's like, the movie version of that game would just be stupid. Like, just go watch, you know, fucking Event Horizon and Terminator 2 or whatever the fuck, whatever all day long movie fest gives you all of those, like, fun Doom things mixed together, you know, rather than, like, well, that's the problem. It just ends up being like a cash grab, because you're like, okay, then what is the impetus for doing this? Is it because it's a story that really needs to be told? It's already been told. It's been told in all the movies that this kind of fun game is sort of loosely kind of references or whatever, and it's like, so, yeah, I don't know. Like, the zombies are a fungus in this one, and they made it into a movie, and it's a big thing. God, I don't care. Okay. Let's move on to something, or what's the Mad Tea Party thing?
I don't know.
Let's change the subject!
Oh.
Like, or whatever, like, and then they do clean cup move down. My cup is very dirty, however. Let's see. We can cross that off the list. We could briefly talk about Leonardo DiCaprio, I guess. That's in the news.
Oh, yeah. So, dude's almost 50.
Yep.
Cool story. Guess he's dating, like, a 19-year-old, or was seen with a 19-year-old, like, model or something.
Yeah. And people are upset. The headline is rich, successful, middle-aged man doesn't break the law. I don't know. I do just love to... I do get that it's, like, a little creepy or whatever. People are like, he's
creepy. He's almost 50 and just going for, like, teenage poon. Like, she's still a teenager. 19 is a teen. Like...
Yeah, that's the point of getting rich and famous. Like, how many fucking classic cars do you need? The only real reason to get that much money and that much plastic surgery is, like, you can still, like, bang 19-year-old women.
Good
like
for her, but it's
yeah!
Like,
and she's like some sort of like Russian, like she's from like Eastern Europe or something. It's like dating Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be a big high point before she gets shipped in a box to some South Asian country in her mid-20s.
It was probably just like, oh, he was like in a picture with her, and then like, you know, people made up stories and blah blah blah. I have no idea. I think
it's got to just be like...
He's just got a reputation for he doesn't date anyone over 25, no matter how old he gets. And
it's like, if he didn't want to do that, he could have just been like a sad, like, mid-level executive in some, like, corner office in the Midwest somewhere with, like, you know, he's got a nice car and money and everything, and he's on his third divorce, and he's got a little bit of hair, and he's just someone who women go home with out of pity because he has money. But no, instead he's Leonardo DiCaprio, so he gets to do things that regular people can't. And I don't know who's more jealous exactly, like the women who wish they had a shot at Leo, but they know that they're far too old and haggard at the age of 31. Or if it's the...
Or 26.
Yeah, or 26, or whatever. I mean, well, you know, we live in the Midwest. You take the... I'm sorry, let me just play devil's advocate for one moment here. If you live in the Midwest, like, find an image of, like, okay, here's, like, the ideal woman. And you're like, okay, that is what's in porno, and that is what men like. And you're like, okay, now, in Hollywood and stuff, it's like, oh, there's tons of those that are in their, like, late 30s, and maybe even early 40s. And fuck, some in their mid-50s or whatever. But here, it's like, Go find me anyone that remotely resembles that by 26. And I'm not, it's like we've all loved and lost or found love again or whatever. But when you look at someone who's like super like rich and successful, they're just like, well, the only fair thing to do is to get with someone that looks like a Walmart greeter because I'm 50. I guess let's throw it in. There's Viagra in the world. I can make this work. I know what I could do, but I don't want people I've never met on the internet to think I'm a creep for living the dream. So you know what? And I'm not defending like rich fuck all them. Like I don't care. And like I'm happily married and it's fine. But it is just funny how fucking, like, high-strung people get about that. And it's like, well, then raise the age of consent to 25. See if I fucking care. I'm married. Go to hell. Like, but then how are the theater kids going to experiment with each other? Like, I don't know. You changed the law to protect them, maybe? You made your bed. Now we're in the Handmaid's Tale. Whatever. But yeah, it's the outrage is a little bit, like, twinged with maybe there should be a new law. If something's immoral, it should be illegal, probably.
No, they're not. There shouldn't be a new law. It's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe think about it a little bit. Like, what is someone's emotional maturity level? Like,
yeah, it's not very high, but that's the thing. They're not starting a business together, and I doubt they're getting married.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
I think he's just slamming like the youngest poon you can legally get in America. But don't tell anybody what the age of consent is in Germany.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
Or where that girl is from. There probably isn't one. Leo DiCaprio is probably the youngest man she's gotten with in a while. So, that's going to be my guess.
If anything, it's a little creepy and it's kind of fun to just like make fun of him a little bit.
Oh, it definitely is fun to make fun of him. Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I don't really care.
He is an aging. Oh, I had like another funny bit about that, but I don't quite remember what it was anymore. It was like, no, yeah, I don't know. It is like I could totally understand that. Oh, right, no, I had a whole thing about how it was the power dynamic. And it's like, that makes sense. That's reasonable. That's realistic. However, I have met people who are the same age where one is way smarter than the other one. So I don't know if an IQ test is in order or whatever before, she's going to think that you're going to start a life with her and you know better. But like, yeah, I don't know. Or like, if someone has way more money than the other person, but they're the same age, it's like, hang on a second. We're going to audit you before we decide whether or not this is creepy. It's like, well, no, like good for her. She's getting with a rich guy. It's like, oh, well, that's fine then. I don't know. I'm just mocking the chatter. And speaking of the chatter, we need to get to the important thing here, which is it's not really going to be a curveball. Like I do want to talk about the Chinese balloon thing because it's actually hilarious, and it's hilarious. My favorite reason that it's hilarious, I think, is simply this. I mean, for those that don't know, China floated a apparently giant. I learned this today. Giant weather balloon over our country. And
aren't all weather balloons pretty giant?
No, I mean,
so this is like a hot air balloon almost.
No, that's nothing compared to. No, it was the size. It was floating around at around 50,000, 60,000 feet, which is really high up. It's like higher, like 30 is like air, general air travel. So it was like way the fuck up there, and it was visible from the ground. So the thing was, it was like the size of like a Boeing 747, like the with wings and all. Like it was this gigantic fucking thing, and I think that was interesting to learn because I'm like, oh yeah, I was like, I don't know why my imagination is so plebeian sometimes. I'm like, well, I just sort of imagined like a thing that could have, awkwardly, but maybe just fit in this basement, just sort of hovering along, people just like throwing crap at it, like that picture of the Hicks that they made a meme out of that you were talking about, where there was actually an image of, people wherever throwing shit at a drone, probably that their neighbor was flying or something, and throwing like beer bottles and cigarettes at this fucking thing. And I kind of did imagine that's what it was, rather than something that was like twice the altitude of Mount Everest floating around, which was like, by the way, like where they're like, oh, they didn't shoot it down till it was over the ocean. It's like Trump would have shot it down right away. I'm like, well, yeah, okay. Two things about that. One, no, the fuck he wouldn't have. Because one thing that dumb shit actually did was, like, when the military people were like, yeah, no. He was just like, oh, okay. Like, he kind of knew that it's like, he would float stupid ideas. Like, well, maybe we'll just go blow up this thing. And they're like, yeah, well, we're not doing that. It's like...
He mostly just likes sounding tough.
Yeah. It's like, typically when the actual military would be like, yeah, we're not actually going to do this because it's a terrible idea. And that's why everyone's like, the deep state doesn't want to do what Trump says. It's like, Trump wants to invade Greenland. Like, no, I guess they're not going to do what he says. But anyhow, like, yeah, if they had shot that down over a populated area, again, it was this big machine in the sky the size of a 747 that would have just, like, if it they were like, and of course no one cares, like, well, like, a tough guy would have just let a whole town die or whatever, if it landing on him, and then, like, they would have been like, I can't believe Biden shot it down over a fucking town in West Virginia where people work hard. But I do find it kind of fun that people are like, oh, they're like spying on us with that. It's like, yeah, they're just provoking us with that. And if you don't understand that, you're not very smart, because they're already watching you through TikTok. There's satellites that China has above this country, like way out in outer space, that can literally count your nose hairs. And it's like, oh, but they're going to float this dirigible, like it's the fucking Rocketeer just over our country. And then, like, the big Chinese symbol on it, just to, like, they did it for the same reason Hitler flew a Zeppelin over the fucking New York skyline or whatever. It was just to kind of, like, show off. It was just like, that was, by the way, historically, that was like a little bit before we were involved in that war and like tensions. It was probably when Hitler was on the cover of Time magazine or whatever. They were just like, but it was a move knowing that eventually we'd get wound up in it. And he was kind of like, see, we can get all the way over here, just in case you're wondering. Which is also, by the way, a very, I was yelling with people at work about this, a very false...
Can I just say something real quick before you get going?
Okay.
How come you bring up Hitler almost every fucking episode?
I really don't.
Yes, you do.
But now it sounds like I do because you said that.
There's at least 3 or 4.
Well, like, I don't know, like, how much history have you studied, but most big historical figures who aren't Hitler are kind of boring. See...
I know.
Like, who do we... We have Winston Churchill, who I bring up a lot also, and pretend to be frequently. Because I like to talk like Winston Churchill, I have a top hat, and I enjoy smoking cigars. I think if I eventually start doing... Actually, he doesn't even sound like that, but I just like to pretend.
No, that's like the John Lithgow version.
Yeah, the best version.
I know.
So there's like him, there's like Abraham Lincoln. No one actually knows anything about Napoleon. Like, I don't know the Emperor of Japan's name from World War II. I don't know what happened in World War I. The Civil War is boring dad shit that no one cares about. Like, I know I'm getting to that age or whatever, but it's just like, I refuse. I refuse. I refuse to get into the Civil War. It's like, no, I just don't care. It's like, yeah, obviously, like, you know what happened in the Civil War? Eventually we won. Good. We fucked up the South forever, and that's what they get for keeping slaves. Fuck them. Like, that's all I know. I know about as much as a person who's emigrated to this country, and they're just like, what caused a civil war? Just put slavery. It's like, good, that's it. That's all you need to know. It's like, well, the thing about abolitionism was, yeah, whatever. Like, no one gives a single solitary shit about that. Like, most of our presidents, all bullshit. Like, Martin Van Buren, cool sideburns, don't know anything else about him.
Exactly.
Like, Bill Clinton played the saxophone, fun guy. Trump sucked. Reagan ruined America. Nixon started ruining America. I couldn't even tell you who, like... So you know what I mean? It's just
Jimmy
like...
Carter builds houses.
Yeah, history's greatest monster, Jimmy Carter. Elvis, one of our 38th president. I don't know. Like, just the history is boring and stupid, and I don't give a shit. But you know what? I brought this up last episode. You know what I have done? I have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark many times, and so I think I know a thing or two about World War II.
There you go. That's all you need.
2 of the bigger people in that were like Churchill again, and then like Hitler. And Hitler got what he deserved. And he's fun. You compare people you don't like to him. You compare people you do like to him. Depending, it's like he's a good speaker, and this guy's an actual racist. You know what I mean? It kind of goes either way. And yeah, who was the American president during that time? Again, hardly anyone on Earth remembers, and you don't really talk about it. And like no one in America got melted by the Ark of the Covenant. So it's like we do to keep our eyes shut. God damn it. So yeah, like in a side note there, like can I even pronounce the president or king or whoever of China's Xi Jinping? Like I don't know what it is. When I see it written, I'm like, oh, that's that guy's name. I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't, like, hear it said enough. And I'm sure he's a piece of shit. Mao Zedong was wild. Joseph Stalin was kind of fun. But again, like, I don't know. He was really second fiddle. Plus, he was, like, on our side in the wars. He was not, I mean, he's a bad guy, but he wasn't the bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, different mustache. He looked like Saddam Hussein. I remember him.
Yeah, oh yeah, that guy.
So that was fun. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I to answer your question, I'm going to continue to just go in circles and deflect because, like, I don't really have a very good answer. Except for the long one that I gave.
It wasn't a question, it was a fact.
No. I don't think it's a fact. I don't think it happens all that often.
Okay.
I don't know.
You were going to say some
Yeah,
folks
good
at work.
God knows what I was going to say.
I do. You were going to talk about your job and people there. And
yes.
this little
I do
thing
that.
you're going to do.
No, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about...
The balloon?
Yeah, we're talking about the Chinese balloon. Fuck. Oh, what was I going to say? I wish I could rewind this, but it's still recording. It was something about... Okay, I talked about shooting it down, not shooting it down, them spying on us. They wouldn't really do that. They're kind of provoking us with it. Was that where I was getting to kind of see where you... Oh, yeah, right. No, I was going to say... Well, actually, I don't remember if this is where I was going. But I'm... Oh, right, it was because I mentioned Hitler. With the Zeppelin or whatever, like getting flown over. Mm-hmm. It's a little like that, and it's a little like that in a similar fashion, because the reality was, in World War II or whatever, is that, like, we were never... Yeah, like, Pearl Harbor got attacked, but, like, actually invading this country the way Red Dawn shows it and stuff is fucking impossible. Yeah. And I mentioned this to one of the glass artists today, that, like, you know, it's like... We could, like, you know, yeah, like a war with Russia would be more like, okay, random nukes go all over the place. It's bad for everyone. We don't really want it. But as far as, like, someone boots on the ground, like, we're going to go and just, like, overthrow America. We could literally win with our hand tied behind our back. And what I mean by our hand tied behind our back are we go, hey, all branches of the U.S. military, go ahead and sit this one out. And the local police departments and random citizens are just going to handle this. We would win. Like, it would be a quagmire like you have never seen. Like, with the Rockies and the, where the mountains are on the other side were surrounded by oceans. Like, invading this country, it's huge, everything's, you know, like, Iraq is, like, the size of, like, half of Wisconsin, and it's like, we had a problem with that. It's like, if that gives you the picture of what, like, you know, like, oh, they're gonna come and get us. It's like, no, the fuck they're not. So they have to pull... China's kind of falling apart, and it's going to keep going. We've mentioned that. And it's like, they're going to start pulling bullshit to be like, yeah, no, we're not. See, we could get you. China's not touching you. China's not touching you. It's just a weather balloon. And they're like, oh, you shot it down. You should pay us for those things that you shot down, or like whatever. But it's like, okay, any real surveillance they're doing, it's just this thing. And they intentionally floated it over, like, you know, like North Dakota and stuff, in Montana, where all the nukes and shit are. Because that's where they all are. Our nuclear arsenal, if you were to take, like, North America and make it accurately, like, topographically, size-wise, you know, like a flat piece of metal or something, and you were like, where do I have to put it on the head of this pin so it totally balances? It would be, like, around Minot, North Dakota, where all the nukes are. It's the furthest away from everything, you know, so to get at it, it's like... And then also it's cold and rocky, and it's terrible. So they're kind of like floating it over there to just kind of see what we would do. And I think we actually did the right thing, which was just ignoring it mostly until it was like, because if we had done something like shoot it down where it might hit a single person's shack in Montana, that would have been an overreaction where we hurt one of our own people because we honestly are like, oh no, it's a balloon from China. It's like, we just waited till it was over the ocean and shot it the fuck down. That's what you do. And everyone's like, well, Biden. It's like, okay, go home. But let's go home, Brandon. Yeah. But, like, to the almost opposite of that point that I do think is a little bit funny is that there was an incident. So, okay. And this is almost more of like a public-facing media-wise thing. So it's like the actual military did the right thing. They just like waited till it went over the water and quietly shot it down. They didn't just leave it alone because that would be the wrong thing to do. But they didn't panic and shoot it down in a way that would have hurt something, which would have meant that we were like, you know, a little bit overreactive or whatever. And that would have been, that would have been a show of weakness or what have you. But there was a thing a little while ago, and I don't have it in front of me, and I don't remember. But like, there was a fairly recent sort of UAP, UFO sighting thing by, like, a naval base or something. And it seems to happen where the things are, like, darting around. They fully have it, like, recorded with, like, radar and LiDAR and, like, I think actually even just regular, normal light film recording, whatever. They're like, yeah, that's really crazy. To the point where they can't just go, oh, it's nothing. So they said, like, oh, those are just Chinese drones. So when you compare that to them being like, oh, this lackadaisical, wacky balloon is floating over the country, and there's so many people freaking the fuck out about it. But then, like, because it's a Chinese thing. Oh, my God. When you compare that to somebody going like, oh, don't worry, that's not aliens. It's just Chinese drones exhibiting, like, the ability to bend the laws of physics in ways that we don't understand. It's like, well, that's fine. All that tells me is that, yeah, there's definitely aliens. Like, that's what I've learned. Like, I'm still very unconcerned with China, but I am now more concerned with aliens, and I didn't think I could get any more concerned with aliens, but here we are. So, yeah, that's mostly the fun part about that. But I did... Here, can we get the mouse reattached? Because I have two things that I would like to take a quick look at. There's photo and video. Because not everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about with this whole Chinese spy weather balloon, fiasco that's been all over the news lately. I think it takes a second for it to recognize it. Either that or this podcast just... Hello, computer. This podcast is going... Hello, computer. Yeah, that might help. You know what's funny is, like, so many things work like that now that in that movie, it's, like, not even... Like, everybody's, like, Apple Watch. Wait, is that moving around?
No.
You sure it's on green?
It's on green. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna turn it
This
back
is the
on.
best. Shit, we should have really charged this thing. I just thought it was so goddamn funny coming up with, like, I found... May I just see it once? Just leave it be, though. Like, leave it alone for a second. Let's just see if it, like, because every time I start this thing and turn everything back on, it starts getting, like, here, can I move? No, that's not even going to do anything. This podcast is literally going to have to go until we can manage to, like, turn it off. Oh, wait. The thing, it's right there. I see it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, it's so annoying. This is just a wash. This one is so dumb, but we're going to keep going here.
We can use the...
Can we? Because I don't think we can.
I'm going to push over.
Okay, push over. Yeah, see if that does anything. Not working.
What about down? No.
Yeah, no, escape didn't really do anything either. What is this, dead too? No, this is like...
Shouldn't be. It would have told us.
Yeah, maybe it told us a while ago. We didn't notice. Yeah, we don't get to, like... Shit! Do we have... Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Upstairs, on my desk, is my laptop.
Do you need a mouse?
And there's a blue... Yes, one that plugs in.
To USB?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, my God. All right. I'm not editing this because I just don't have time for that.
Who cares? Nobody cares.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Nobody's listening to this point. It's fine.
Sometimes they do, though, and now it bothers me when we do things where they're not going to. But that's fine. Whatever the fuck.
We have time to get this going.
Yeah, we do. There was some time. You know what? It's not that anyone's listening. I know no one is. It's fine. But it's like, I had like a well-timed goof that I kind of wanted to do. Whatever. All right. And it's like, I already came into this in a frustrated and distracted mood. But it doesn't matter, because I kind of always feel like that.
But we're getting a mouse.
Yes, we're getting, yes, the problem will eventually be solved. I know that.
Exactly. So hold your horses.
Yeah, it's
There's plenty other shit to shout about.
There certainly is. I'm not going to get cancer in the next 10 minutes. I just count my fucking blessings.
Look at it go.
Thank you, sweetheart. So this needs to go into the computer where the USB hole is.
All right.
And you can't say USB hole without B hole. La 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 la. If you're listening, this is so interesting. All right, we'll get to Dear Asshole in a second. I really want to see if this suddenly wakes the mouse up even at all. Oh, it does.
Hey, sweet.
Introduction. Your keyboard cannot be identified. Why is there like a tuxedo shirt here?
Oh my god, I wish y'all could see that.
Initially, yeah, okay.
Because that's really
None
funny.
of this needs to be happening. Get out of here. That's for later John to get unbelievably frustrated about whatever that was telling me was going to happen. Anyway.
All right, show us the pictures.
All right, so, okay, this is no longer funny. The timing is dead, and it's all stupid, but the point is we found a picture because we were trying to describe the size of the balloon, and here it is. That is... Now, our scientists think that the smaller balloon is full of nitrous oxide, and that's just sort of based on the expression on the guy's face.
I was just going to say that would make sense.
And the larger...
His rosy cheek.
Yep, I'm almost positive the larger balloon is full of farts. So I just wanted to show that because that's the thumbnail we're not using because you'd actually have to... But Meredith laughed, so obviously it was kind of funny. But here's the important thing. There is video now, fairly recently, as of earlier today, of the Chinese fart balloon getting shot down. And I kind of wanted to show that real quick here.
Yes, I'd like to see that.
Let's review. So... Let's just see.
What?
There we go. So there's, I think that's Joe Biden. Oh yeah, the State of the Union address was today, and there's no wait, that's probably the Chinese president.
We can't hear it.
We don't need to hear it because we don't need to get our thing taken down because we're running a Simpsons clip.
Oh.
Also, just echoes. Now the important part is that they're about to launch. That's the Chinese spy balloon. There it goes.
That is very accurate.
I think it is. And then, hi, I'm Big Butt Skinner. I wish I could have found this and edited it to put the I'm Big Butt Xi Jinping or whatever his name is. Mao Zedong. Yeah, that was America when we saw that over Montana. And there's the hillbillies trying to throw Mountain Dew and beer at it and crap.
It's that you're always demanding perfection.
And then we're obviously just watching The Simpsons. But if you're watching this on YouTube, this is very funny to me. There we go. There's the U.S. military in action. And see, this is what would have happened if we shot it down and all the Trump people wanted it. See, look at that. That would have been America.
Oh.
All right. We don't need to start watching Family Guy now. Hang on. Go away. All right, that was a fun thing. And, we had to do that because we have the capability of doing that.
Yes.
And there's all these squares all over the screen.
I know, it was annoying.
Okay, so anyway, that has finally brought us into the last 10 minutes of this nightmare. And...
I don't know, I was having fun.
I'm having fun. You accuse me of being friends with Hitler. None of our shit fucking works. Well, I mean, there's a little thing like we didn't exist for... How long between when Hitler died and I was born? Let's think about that. No, 45 to 80, that should be real easy math, but guess what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 35. Oh, wow, that's not that long. Like, my grandpa could have been friends with him. He wasn't, I promise. I mean, my grandparents, they were in South America in the early 40s. They had nothing to do with any of that. So anyway, the point is that we have to read an excerpt from this book. And boy, we might even have to put Dear Asshole on pause next week because our book of the month, Valentine's Day book, is going to be a lot of book reading.
Yeah, we can put it on pause.
And I actually think that perhaps, without giving too much away, that the writer of that book that we're going to sample, or a couple of books, is going to need their own Dear Asshole letter written to them by me.
Yeah.
And I think that is how we will end that episode.
Yeah.
An homage to my least favorite book in the world, this weird book called Dear Asshole, which is 101 tear-out pages of passive-aggressive shit that's bordering on racist occasionally, written by people who think they're actually funny, and I do believe in a non-ironic fashion, so you can, leave this for people who took your parking spot, or didn't take care of the library book before you, or didn't fucking, hop to it enough at a restaurant. That's it's page 1.
I know.
Is bitching about some minimum wage tip server at somewhere, and you're like, oh, this creme brulee at TGI Fridays isn't up to snuff. Get the fuck out of here. So, yeah, it's our thing has been like, is it ironic or not? And so far it's been impossible to tell, but unfortunately it seems like not. Like, this feels like it was written in earnest. And not the fun Ernest that goes to jail or saves Christmas. The one where that sentence I said actually had the correct word in it somehow, which is unusual for me. I'm the Ben Shapiro of actually being sort of funny occasionally. So, this particular excerpt, this page, this chapter, whatever it is. Dear asshole who didn't flush the toilet. And so far, like, unless it clogged and your hands were truly tied, if you just chose to not flush the toilet, perhaps you deserve...
Oh my god, I used to live with people who just didn't flush their pee ever, and the bathroom was the smell so terrible and I wanted to vomit.
Yeah. Who didn't flush their pee? Just lots of people?
No, Matt and his dad.
Oh, yeah. I lived with a couple of people that did it for, I believe, what were purported to be either environmental reasons or fiduciary reasons, both of which are so negligible that it's, of course, the kind of thing that they would wring their hands over and perhaps yell at someone for breaking the law that was made. It's like, no, you got to only flush every once in a while because it saves water.
I didn't know that we were on our own septic system, so that's why he didn't think. There was actually a legit reason he didn't flush, so...
Yeah, I guess.
But
why
for the
not
longest time, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Flush your piss.
Yeah,
Just
I
flush your piss.
have never lived anywhere with a septic system, so my under the table jab stands. Also, if you're gonna like have a septic system where you can't even flush the toilet, why don't you just crap in the backyard like some kind of animal? If that's how we're gonna live. Like that lady in Hoarders with that 4-foot tall poop tower in her toilet. That's not even the poop one. There was a different episode of Poop Hoarders.
Yep.
So anyway, this goes out, and man, here's the thing: I haven't read ahead, so this might only be just about pee, but I'll be disappointed. Like, I want this to be about not flushing poop.
I know.
Badly, I want it to be.
So disappointing. So I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
By the way, it's impressive to be disappointed so regularly in something that I have zero expectations for, and yet that seems to be the situation. So let's see what we can do. To quote Jules Winston. Thank you so much for leaving your revolting excrement.
Hey!
Pee is not excrement. Pee is waste of some kind, but it's not excrement. Excrement is a fancy person who thinks they're better than you word, like your teacher in first grade when you shit in a urinal. That's their word for poop. Someone left excrement in the urinal.
Couldn't even go with fecal matter.
Yeah. I think it's because we'd get a copyright strike because one of my favorite YouTube channel, Fecal Matters, is, it's got over 1 million followers. And, the funny thing is, it's just run by this guy named Charles Fecal, and it's a video game review thing. It's a coincidence.
Wow.
But, yeah. No, he's a lawyer, and he actually sues people about septic tank misuse. So it fits. But it's kind of a happy coincidence that it's called Fecal Matters. Like, I don't know if the cart's before the horse or the tail's wagging the dog on that one.
John.
No, it says stuff about that in here. No, it doesn't, actually. Okay. Thank you so much for leaving your revolting excrement here for the world to see. How many people live in your house? It was a real treat to walk in on. That sentence sucks. I certainly hope you're feeling better because I'm not going to be able to eat for a week. Oh, that was such a missed opportunity. I sure hope you're feeling better because obviously you have a medical condition of some kind. You know what I mean? Like, to make fun of the volume, I think would have been the move. Not to just, again, lead with how much it inconveniences you, which this book was written by Karens and they're not making fun of Karen. Okay, let me clue you in on how toilets work. Oh boy, a lesson. I can't wait to get a talking to from a person like this, because that's never happened to me. All right, you filthy, disgusting beast. Ooh, this might get sexy.
Yeah.
First, you use them. First you use them. Oh, on how toilets work. First you use them, then you flush them by pressing down on the huge, shiny handle protruding out of the side. It's all in capitals.
Wow.
I know it sounds difficult. This is just this infantilizing, but with a little practice, I'm confident you'll be able to master it in no time. That is such the tone of someone who like I asked for 2 pickles on my burger and you put 1. An infant would have gotten. An infant could do this. It's like, no, they can't. Infants are fucking stupid. If you leave them in the woods for like a day, they're gonna just die.
An hour.
Yeah, they'll get eaten by something. Respectfully yours. Oh, I get it, because it's not. P.S. You may want to call a doctor. See, it's too late for the callback to the medical condition joke that I suggested 4 sentences ago. I haven't seen so many shades of neon green since Kanye West's last video. What the fuck does he have? When was this written? Kanye West doesn't make... God, this is more expensive in Canada. I have no idea,
but we have a mutual friend who ate a bunch of Gushers and then, like, pooped fucking lime green.
Maybe this is about Owen. And by the way, I really shouldn't... I don't know when this came out, and I guess I don't care.
Who cares?
I kind of just... The Kanye West reference matters. If you want to talk about someone who's actually friends with Hitler. And I don't. But, like... So... Yeah, no, it's our friend, the guy who I used to be in a band with, which covers like 80 people, but our friend Owen Good, that's his name, once ate Gushers only, every meal, and like sour,
and the sour,
green,
the ones they don't
nasty,
make them anymore.
Radioactive Gushers or whatever.
Yes.
He only ate that, and I doubt he drank water. It was probably that and Mountain Dew.
I was gonna say water.
No, he wasn't a big water guy. God rest his soul. No, he's very much alive somehow. But mysteriously has several different medical problems. I can't remember. So anyway, he ate Gushers only for a week, 3 meals a day, and in between meal snacks, which, you know. But then, I went and looked at it. He took a shit that was like literally the color of like, you know, like a green screen that you would use in film. Like just that exact. And it wasn't even like streaky or mottled. It was literally like
solid
plastic. Yeah, like if you bought, you know, glow in the dark poop with like a picture of like a fake Yoda's face on it from like a joke. John was like, green is my poop. And it's like, it looked like that. And there was a lot of it too.
Oh my God.
So this having multiple shades of green kind of suggests a marbling. And I'm not sure what you would have to do. Gushers one meal, steak the next, and just back and forth.
Corn.
Yeah, that. No, because corn would just be solid yellow. PPS, did you think you used enough toilet paper? Were you wiping or covering a mummy? Now, I like that. Because...
That's the first time that it actually made me go, huh.
Yeah, right? Both of us. So that means something.
Oh, is it going to get better?
Yeah, do you think, since we're only like 5 pages in, that it's going to start ramping up from here on out? It might.
Fuck.
It just reminds me of the last... I think it was, because it was like before I started work, and then like kind of like didn't do comedy as much. Although I'm gonna do it again, March. I'll pretend I'm a famous comedy podcaster. It's like I got dates to bring up. March 13th at the Monday Night Comedy Show in Minneapolis, with the only place I ever do comedy, and I only do it. Yeah, I think that's the Monday.
Well, let's find out.
We should take a look. Bring up my dates real quick.
Yep. 13th.
I'll be at the Comedy Store in Brea. No, I'm not. I don't do that for real at all. March 13th I'll be there, and everyone will be there, and it'll be lots of fun. But the very last time I did it was the Halloween show, and I talked about how no one knows what happens when the mummy gets you, and my postulation is he just tries to jerk you off. And
that was so good.
Yeah, it's funny. And so, like, the mummified toilet bowl, which I think maybe the reason that's funny is we have all seen that. Like, we have seen the, like someone put just an entire box of Baby Ruths in the microwave for 25 seconds and then poured it in the toilet, but then covered it, like, not wadded up and wiped, but just like, okay, are they covering their shame? This is clearly about a public bathroom. It's not about, you know, their house with like dumb fucking roommates or whatever that like, you know, refuse to get a bigger garbage can because they don't want to encourage waste or whatever. And then you're like, oh, I'll just hang on to this banana peel in case Donkey Kong starts chasing me. Like, what the fuck is your plan here?
That doesn't make any sense. But
it so doesn't. Yeah, that one. Would people like have that one in the kitchen that's the size of the one that goes in the bathroom? And they just order 3 pizzas for dinner and just go, thump. And that's all the garbage can you get to ever use again. And I buy a bigger one and you yell at me and I'm the fuck. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, I just... that's like a familiar thing too. But here's the other thing. I don't want to give... Again, I want to give it that nod of at least it's a thing we all recognize. But you can't be... When the toilet looks like that, it's because you're taking a shit in Walmart. Like, it's not... okay, like if you have a job that isn't embarrassing, if you have the kind of job that you proudly tell other people you
I have a Walmart toilet story, but go on.
Oh, I do too. Like, but that's the thing. Like, I'm on the other end of this, right? Like, I flushed the toilet. I used my foot, like, and I did that
Just
way.
Before we go, I want to tell the story.
Yes, we will. But I just want to tell you, like, I've shit in many a Walmart bathroom on tour out of like necessity, and for a while, and not by the time I was in Blue Felix, I kind of stopped doing this. But like, I used to like that first wipe that is just ripe with material. Ugh. I would draw on the wall with every once in a while. And I mean, I was,
fucker.
I was just drunken on drugs
nasty,
in 2007.
Nasty.
Yeah. But it was just, I would draw like a frowny face made of poop or something. And it was
God.
Well, I mean,
going to hell.
Well, I've been there. And it's that Walmart in like Tennessee that I drew a frowny face or a pentagram made out of shit. But just because I want someone real who's writing a book to walk in there and be like, dear asshole who drew an entire page of the Necronomicon out of shit on the back wall of this Walmart thing. I can't say I'm mad because what else do I expect? End of chapter.
Right.
But now let's hear about your poop.
So I had to shit so bad, and this is when I lived in Washington, and it was like, takes me
the shit
almost
state,
an hour to drive home. So it was like, I don't have a choice. I have to go to this Walmart, the only Walmart we have in Bellingham, and take a dump in there. And I walk in there, and the one of the employees is in there and is just like greeting people. She's like, hello, how's it going? And I'm like,
what?
Yeah. Just someone said hello to me when I was walking into the Walmart bathroom. It was an employee, and I didn't shit. I just immediately, I was like, sucked it up.
No,
and walked out.
you did the right thing.
I'm just gonna be constipated then, because that was so fucking. Who does that? Don't talk to me when I go into the bathroom. Go greet at the front door. Don't be sitting like
they might have gotten
in
lost.
The bathroom.
There's a chance it was
greeting people.
A well-meaning thing.
Hello.
Well, and also, bathroom attendants are a thing for fancy places. But if you're in rural Washington and you go into a Walmart bathroom, usually hello is like the last thing you're ever gonna hear.
The Reverend John Wheeler podcast takes zero responsibility for the words, actions, or ideas of its host, guests, or listeners. Though the people on the screen may at times be speaking directly to you and may occasionally give you direct calls to action, neither Reverend John nor the Alchemical Cocktail Lounge are under any moral or legal obligation to answer for the potentially disastrous repercussions that may arise if you are stupid enough to actually follow the orders of a raving lunatic. Think for yourself and do whatever you want, because you're on your own. If anyone ever tries to sue this podcast, black SUVs will converge on your location in the darkness of night and you will never be seen again. Remember to like and subscribe.